What does Australia Day really mean to you?
That is a really good question. What does Australia Day mean to me? Well, it's more so a day of survival, a day of mourning. It's a reflection day. It can be a really emotional day. I feel like our Indigenous population in Australia doesn't get acknowledged for the things that have happened and are continuously happening in our country. I feel as though a lot of the things have been swept under the rug. Therefore, the day has lost its absolute meaning. Yeah. I don't know. It's so tricky because it's such an emotional time for majority of Indigenous people. There's a lot of Indigenous people that will see the day as an absolute day of survival, and then there's the other people that are like me who will call it Invasion Day. It offends people, it really does, but that's just the reality of it. Yeah, obviously everyone has their own definitions of the day, but being Indigenous, it's, Invasion Day for me. And I thought about it today on the way here. Actually, I was like, there's 50% of my friends who I would ask, what does Australia Day mean to you? And they're like, it's basically a public holiday. It's basically a day to go and get drunk and have fun with friends. And then I've got my other 50% of my friends who are just like, it's Invasion Day. It's a day not to be celebrated. It's a day to mourn and acknowledge our First Nations people. It does, I guess it does have a different meaning for everyone, but me as an Indigenous female, it is Invasion Day.
How do you think January 26th should be celebrated?
I don't think it should be celebrated, the day. I don't think the day should be celebrated. I feel as though that day could be utilised to give people a better understanding around Indigenous culture and why we are still hurting, why we are still suffering. I feel as though the date could be changed. I feel like that's a tricky one because I feel if you ask a lot of Indigenous people, they wouldn't tell you how the day should be celebrated because it is a day of mourning for most of us. Yeah.
That's quite a common question or statement that's raised is, should the day be changed?
The date, yes. And I'm all for the date being changed. I know that there's been proposed dates. I'm all for May 8th, for Australia Day to be changed to then. I feel like it's more appropriate. I don't know. I guess, yes, 100% date should be changed. Definitely.
And then what would take place on January 26th?
That's in a perfect world, it should be a day revolved around Indigenous culture, education, awareness, so people can have a better understanding. Because I feel like a lot of people don't have any idea that we are still suffering. We are still suffering from intergenerational trauma. We're still seeing a lot of issues in our communities at the moment based on colonization and invasion, which sucks to say, but that's the reality. So, yeah.
So how do we as a collective move forward from here?
How do we move forward as a collective? Whew. Education, moving the date, definitely changing it, and then utilising Jan 26 as, a day for Indigenous people to get together, and I guess for the whole of Australia to get together and celebrate First Nations people. And yeah.
Is there anything else you'd wanted to add or like to say? Or how do you think the best way to educate people from here would be?
The best way to educate people need to be reciprocal to the idea that they need to have an understanding and a cultural awareness, and I feel everything has been swept under the rug, and a lot of people don't have any education around Indigenous culture. So I feel like education's the key thing that everyone should be taking on board if they are willing and open to that idea.
Beautiful.
Cool.